Hello everybody, this is Alex, also known as Solanus Dracone. Today, we're going to start off on Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey. It's a game about discovery and survival, and tangentially it's about evolution, but spoiler alert, we never make it to human as far as playable, so it's going to be Monke from start to finish. But I've been enjoying this game quite a bit. It's got a nice slow-paced sort of feeling to it, but also a touch of action here and there. So let's go ahead and dive right in, shall we? Now, I'm going to start off a new lineage just for you guys, and I've already got a slot that I play called the Blessed Ones. It's either the Blessed or Blessed Ones, so for our new slot, I'm going to name it the Blessed Ones, just because, I'll just call them the Blessed then. So, there are 3 different modes you can choose for starting the game out. There's First Time, which is essentially story mode. You get all the cutscenes and all that, and they start you off in a pretty cushy position. Then there is Survivor, which is basically, they plunk you down in a random spot, and that's it. You figure it out. It doesn't matter where they plunk you down, you gotta figure it out. Then there's Custom Game, where you can kind of choose, where you start, how many monkeys you start with, etc., etc. Of course, I'm going for the most hardcore experience, and I've done this a couple times, so we're going to do Survivor. And I normally like to start with female. That gives me a little bit of an edge. We'll explain more as we go. But I'm going to do random. We're going to leave ourselves completely up to chance. So, from what I can see, they will start us off at the Savannah's Border Oasis, which actually isn't bad. It's a lot kinder than a lot of other places that I've been plonked. So, looks like they're going to make me a male to boot. So, let's get started. And here we are at the Savannah's Border Oasis. We are just a lone, unknown hominin. Alright, so in this mode we don't actually get any tooltips or anything like that. It's just go time. So the very first thing you'll want to do when you start off on the game is grab a rock, okay? Grab a rock and sniff it. Hold down X to inspect. Alright, so that's part of the discovery. You've got to go around and grab one of everything and sniff one of everything to know what the heck it is. And as you can see, there's stuff appearing on the upper right there, growing neuron and such. There's 2 types of experience in this game. There's the experience of, doing stuff, and then there's neuronal energy. Right now we can gain all the experience of doing stuff that we want, but it's not going to make a dang difference without neuronal energy. So the reason I like to pick up a rock is because, we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to grab a berry real quick and sniff it. Apparently we don't like the smell of it, but that's fine. I'm not going to eat it right now. Just drop it. There we go. Next, I'm going to take a scoop of water and sniff it. And apparently that's fine too. One more thing I'm going to sniff is this, the horsetail. Excellent. Now, horsetail is, of course, it's an edible in its base form, but there's more to it than that. It's also a good idea to eat a little bit of everything, but with berries, you pretty much run the risk of getting a little bit of food poisoning. Easiest way to get rid of food poisoning is just to stand and drink it away. Just holding down, well, it would be A on the Xbox controller, it's X on PlayStation because that's how I roll. And just a wee bit more. And good. We have cleansed ourselves of the taint. So, first order of business has got to be get ourselves a mate. Find ourselves a female. Because you cannot earn any neuronal energy to level up your stats until you have. So, real quick, before I do that, still carrying my rock. I'm keeping my rock with me. I'll tell you why when it becomes relevant. Gonna grab a bit of this natal grass cycad. One moment. Okay, just, something went down the wrong pipe. So I sniffed it, and it's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a sleep spot real quick. And there are 3 things you look for in a home. This is actually a fairly decent place to start. The first thing you're going to want to have in a home is water. Check. Second, food. Food normally goes with water, so you're good. Check. Third, cover. When it starts to rain, you're going to get cold, and you want to have a nice place to get under. So we're going to place down 4 of the natal grass cycad. Hold down Y to start construction, and just tap A until you're done. Okay, and we've made ourselves a sleep spot. The new discoveries on the left don't really matter. They don't really count for anything. But I am going to settle. Which means that this is my home. So let's go ahead and just get ourselves accustomed to our areas. By pressing Y or triangle, you get your sight. If you press A or X, you know what your buttons are. Then you stand. Now, when you look at these little diamond points, those are way markers. Those are spots. So I'm going to press and hold Y because it says discover. And we get treated to a little cutscene. Monke discovers Woodland Oasis, or Savannah's Border Oasis, excuse me. And I'm actually quite pleased with this particular spot. Not only is it decent, it's close to my favorite spot. So from here on out, I'm just going to be skipping cutscenes. I'm not going to be sitting here through them. But one of the reasons that you settle when you actually have found the spot is because you'll get this kind of waypoint. And when you want to focus on something, you hold down the Y, and then you hold it down again, and triangle. That means that it will always be visible on your HUD, no matter where you are. You can find your way back home as long as you've triangled that. So let's see, where's that rock that I left? There we go. So now, it's time to strike out. It's time to strike out and see what we can find. So I'm going to go into my senses with the, I think it's X button. I'm going to stand up because standing up increases your range. And what I'm doing is I'm switching over to the sound. So sound lets us hear if there's something living nearby. Now that is a hominin, and I will want to mark that. Whenever you see that, that means, hey, there's somebody else that you can grab. Now, that's pretty much just randomness, but it is a female, and I want to get a female, because I can't do anything without a female. Now, let's see, she's, what's wrong with her is kind of, often hard to tell. She's banging her head right now, so it's either some kind of poisoning, or it's, she's thirsty. Either way, we don't really have anything with us at this exact second that we can do about that. I'm going to sniff around, because if it's poison, then I know the cure. Well, that's not great. Them there's kitties. Kitties ain't your friend. Discover the kitty. They are not friendly. Do not interact with kitty. Avoid kitty if you can help it. Fortunately, they either seem not to have noticed me or they're just not interested. I'm looking for a specific thing. Now, by sniffing, you may also... Here we go. There's that mechanic I told you about. Gonna see that little blinky thing, and okay. It's not exactly the mechanic I was thinking of, but whenever you see that little thing on the bottom left blinking, that indicates something sees you. Something is seeing you, and they're not happy about the situation. Oh, this is the thing that I was worried about. Okay, go. Okay, so that is a white Machiridus. There's 3 kinds: white Machiridus, black Machiridus, and gold Machiridus. And they really don't differ as far as what they do, but essentially, that particular white Machiridus was what's known as a stalker. Now, the stalker is well, it's a little mechanic to keep you on your toes. As well as the usual random mobs you're going to see around the place, the stalker will just instantly appear out of nowhere. The stalker will instantly appear out of nowhere to mess with your day. And that's why I wanted to grab the rock, because the stalker can hit any time he wants. There is absolutely no warning. If you get that little blinky on the lower left, that's the only warning you get. Now, of course, as you're going around inspecting stuff, you want to go ahead and sniff the termite mound. Termite mound does have good stuff, but we can't use it at the moment. I'm looking for a very particular thing, and there it goes. Hello. What's your issue? This is a male. You can tell because the male has a little fringe of hair on the back of his head, plus, well, no boobies. Now, the male seems to be hungry. And, you know, I could always use a friend, so I'm going to grab this. This is turmeric. Give it a sniff. Now, turmeric is a food item. Oh, hello, there's 2 hominins right here. Let's see if what his problem is he's hungry. He might have been hungry, but turmeric is actually a food, but it's also there for healing poison. So he was hungry, that was his problem. What's this one's problem? That's a female. And actually she looks like she's injured. She's holding her arm. Well, that's just fine. Let's grab one of these. These red leaves are hot leaves. Cat, whatever. And they're really, really good. I love cat leaves. For one thing, they are a completely safe form of food. You can just eat and eat and eat, and you'll never get food poisoning off of them. They're great. For another, they heal injuries. And as you can see, she's holding her arm, not too happy about life. That means she's got an injury. So if you give her a cat leaf, you're going to eat it, and there you go. You got yourself a friend. Now, it's going to get a little bit tricky now because, well, there's, I don't have a weapon in my hand. I'm hoping that the issue that other female had was poisoning, because if it is, then this turmeric will help. If it's not poisoning, well, I can't really do anything to help her out until I gain a second skill. So I'm going to hope that she's still alive. Doesn't look like anybody's gotten to her. There's a little bit of a problem with the fact that she got attacked, which we'll discuss in just a minute here. Okay, so let's see if she's poisoned. Here. Okay, she's happy with what we gave her. If she eats it, that means that was what she needed. So, holding your head and going nuts, you're poisoned. So that's good. We've now got 2 of each. 2 males, 2 females. And that's a start. It's certainly a start. Really, you can't honestly get going until you've got 3 females in the party. But any amount of females is enough to start with. Because in order to actually start earning neuronal energy, which is the other type of experience, you have got to mate. You have got to make baby. So, let's begin by going ahead and forming a relationship. So, hold down groom, and you see that little green. Now that green tick's going to come up a lot. The little green click. That means basically you've hit the sweet spot. If you're trying to do crafting, if you're trying to do grooming, whatever, then you let go as soon as you see that green in the screen and that tick. So I'm going to go ahead and mate with her, because, well, you know, we have to mate to make baby. And I don't see any reason not to have the baby now, so hold down B to give birth, and baby is born. I'm skipping the cutscene, takes too long. And you can get 2 babies out of each female. Now you see there it says baby with spontaneous genetic mutation. We'll talk more about mutations in a moment. So 2 babies, that's all you can get out of any female. I'm going to go ahead and piggyback the 2 of these, and I'm going to switch with this other male. Hit Y to analyze and A to switch. I'm going to do the exact same little mating ritual with this one. Hold down B to groom. Let go when you see the green tick. And away you go. Now, the thing about the green tick is that you can fail it. If you let go too early, you fail. If you let go too late, you fail. So try to hit the sweet spot. B to call mate. Hold down B to mate. Now pregnant, give birth, baby born. Excellent. So now, I've got 4 babies. Did I not create another baby with you? No, I did not, actually. Alright. Drop the child, call the woman. Get back over here, we're not done. And as long as they're at your at the camp, then they'll just be there. They'll hang out, they'll wait for you, and generally they are safe waiting in the camp. Okay, so now I've got a total of 4 babies. Let me go ahead and piggyback them all. Oh yeah, end expedition, and you welcome your new friends home. Skip. Now, you may have noticed, it's dark. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay down and hold A to sleep. And the longer you hold A down, the longer you sleep. I like to give it a good 8 hours, so I'm going to take it through to 8 a.m. The longer you go, the faster it ticks along. And you have to eat and sleep, and... okay, 6 is fine. You have to eat and sleep and drink in order to, well, live. So, next part is I'm going to actually start earning some levels. Well, I call them levels. It's basically unlocking perks, so to speak. Yeah, that's fine. So, the very first perk you want to take is this one, the upper left. Motricity. The ability to switch hands with an item is acquired. Incredibly critical. If this is not the first thing you're taking, you're doing it wrong. That's strongly important. Now, these first 4 corners you get for free, I guess. I mean, it takes a little bit of neural energy to unlock. But the second one, Gather All Clan Members, is also good. You want that. That means that you can summon everybody when it's time to go. Let me see here. Senses Evolution is fine. Just increases the range of detection for odors and sounds. Never a bad thing, and we don't have enough neuronal energy to unlock that. That's fine. Neuronal energy is earned by literally doing anything. I'm just going to go ahead and drink a bit. And it's a little bit monkey see, monkey do, because if you start drinking or eating, then everybody else in the clan is going to come start drinking and or eating as well. Every little oasis that you set up at is going to have berries around, but the downside of berries is that they can make you sick. It's completely random. Sometimes they won't make you sick at all. They're not a great food source to rely upon. So now that I have the switching hands, I can hold 2 items. Awesome. And the next thing I want to do, as I'm going to switch hands again, the next thing I want to do is make myself a stick. Okay, just grab the stick off the tree, you sniff it, and as you can see on the lower right there was that little flash. in the bottom right circle, that indicates you earned a bit of neuronal energy. Now, there's two ways to alter this stick, and I'm going to choose the most easy one first. First off, switch hands. Whatever's in your left hand gets altered by what's in your right. You press and hold alter, and as soon as you start pressing R1, you're committed. So hold, wait for the blink, let go, boom. Now you have a stick. It's no longer a branch, it's a stick. But there is further that we can go with our stick. Let's go ahead and grab the rock, and this one's tough. When you're just starting out, it can be a little bit tough because rocks are imprecise. And it takes about 10 correct hits, that means 10 properly timed clicks of the green, to actually turn. Well, it might not be 10, but it's going to take a bunch of tries in order to turn this into a sharpened stick. Alright, so now we have a sharpened stick. Sniff every new thing that you create, just the first time. You don't have to do it a million times. But now you have a sharpened stick, and that is the most powerful weapon in the game. The sharpened stick is a one-time only use item, and it is it does the most damage for your buck there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start roaming around and looking for more clan. I've got 2 females, that's great. I'd like at least one more. If I can get a second male, that would also be nice. There's 3 types of rocks in this game, and you can spot them by hitting Y and then aiming in at them. Granite is not great. It is not the most useful rock. It's actually the least useful rock, but it's still a rock. And if it's a rock is useful. At least, more useful than not having a rock. So my range of vision and smell and sound is fairly short right now, so I have to stop and check every so often. So I'm gonna, go a couple things forward, and I'm gonna try. Let me see. Turn on the noise. And okay, there's a bunch of living things down there. Those are all hyenas. Maybe you want to steer clear of the hyenas. So a little bit of explanation of the HUD. On the bottom left is our, it's our dopamine meter. That little thing curling around it, that's how much dopamine you have. If it reaches the bottom, you go into panic mode. And if you hit panic mode, that meter is going to start ticking up. Hello, Stalker. And my attack failed, but even a failed attack is enough to get him off your butt. And you saw he just popped out of nowhere. So that's the fun that you get to have. So as I was saying, if that my fingers over here. If that dopamine meter reaches the bottom, you go into panic mode, and the panic mode is going to start turning back up to red. If you reach the top on panic mode, that means that you've gone insane, hysteria, and really the only thing that happens is you end up back at the nest. No big deal. It's not the worst thing in the world. So I'm still going to keep looking around, seeing if I can spot any more mates. But remember, that little triangle there, that is your beacon. That is your guide back home. So always make sure you do it before you actually start heading out. And now we've got Fear of the Unknown. So when Fear of the Unknown happens, you basically gotta stop and look around. Standing up is a good idea, gives you more range. You gotta look around and just, identify everything you can identify. Sight, smell, sound, whatever. There's that little dot to the upper right of it, and when that fills up, that means, hey, you have started to conquer your fear. You're going to notice that some things are still question marks, and this is a type of berry I haven't discovered yet. But it's okay. I've discovered elderberry. which at the very least fills up my dopamine. The dopamine is constantly ticking down while you're in Fear of the Unknown mode. But it's good that I've discovered it because that gives me just a couple more things that I can see. If you don't know what something is, it doesn't help you. And you have to sniff everything, otherwise you learn nothing. Okay, just a little bit more, and boom, surroundings rationalized. Now, I start heading for that white dot in the distance. Now, it's not really that far away, don't worry. As you head toward it, it'll start to come closer. You just gotta get far enough to get to this point. Conquer your fear, hold down B. And that means that now, you're no longer afraid to travel in this area. Wonderful. What it also does is, conquering your fear will 100% unlock your, well, not unlock, it will 100% fill up your current meter of, it'll fill up your current meter of neuronal energy, which that's what's on the lower right. Now, over here, oh, I still have them berries in my hand. Let me eat them. Okay. So over here, this is a snail. Eat the, well, sniff the snail first. And then eat the snail. 3 bites. And I have never gotten food poisoning off of a snail, but that counts as an evolution feat. So, you know, eat it. Eat it once. Now, I'm going to seek out some cat leaves because you'll notice on the bottom left I have a bit of a problem with cold. That little fangs icon, that means I have some protection against the poisoning. Now, cold is just really going to mess with your screen, and possibly it's going to mess with that middle bar, which we'll talk about in a second. Cat leaves are just a great way to not only protect yourself against the cold, but also it protects you against injury, which mainly you get from falling. So I'm just going to fill up both meters there. That's fine. Now I am more or less cold-proof, and I am more or less injury-proof. Alright, so that is a cow. Not friendly, but it's a discovery I can make. So let's see if I can focus in on this guy. You have to sniff or sound out a creature before you can discover it. So I just sniffed this guy. It's a bull. Right now I'm wasting time. But I know that if there are friends in that direction, I'm going to have to go through them bulls to get to him, and I just don't want to deal with that. So let me just poke around a little bit longer. I'd love to at least find one more female. You can start things off with 3 females. You don't need 3 males. Just 1 male is enough. You may run into problems with being family related when you go to mate the next generation. But, you know, the game's got you taken care of there. I mean, the incestuous implications are disturbing, but, you know, this is life, you know, and life's gotta happen. If you don't got any options, you don't got any options. Now, hello. Okay, that's another male. Not my favorite, but I'll take it. And let's see, his problem is he's injured. He's holding his arm, he's injured. So either a horsetail or a cot leaf is what he needs. Well, I don't see any cot leaves right now, so I'm just going to tag him. If you go too far away from an item that you've tagged, then yeah, it goes away. You can't find it anymore unless you run back in the same direction. But places will never do that. Places will never vanish if you focused on them unless you unfocus on them. So since he's injured and, you know, it's not bad to have another male in the clan, then I'm going to go ahead and try my best to save him. There's some cot leaves up there. That's great. Now, that little dot in the middle of the screen, that is your endurance meter. When it's full green, you have full endurance. When it's yellow, you're losing endurance. And when it's red, that's endurance that you've lost. Simple enough. Various things will cause you to lose endurance. Running will cause you to lose endurance. I'm holding down A button right now. It may not seem like I'm going very fast, but this is me normal speed. This is me slightly faster speed while running. It's not great, but it's better than nothing. But running will drain your endurance, so you gotta stop and take a rest every once in a while. So here you go, buddy. Okay, so he's still hurt. I'm gonna switch over to him. This is a debuff. Debuffs are not good. As you can see, even though I've got a little bit of defense against cold right now, which it's raining, that's why it's cold. I've still got that injury. It's a broken bone, more or less. Now, this guy is just going to hobble along and be a pain in the butt until that's healed, so I'm just going to go ahead and eat enough cot leaves to cure that injury. Alright. And as I said, when you start doing something and other monkeys are near to see you do it, they'll start doing it too. So I bet you he's gonna... Yep, he's grabbing another one. Great. Just a hungry man. That's fine. That's fine. I've got him with me, and I've still got my rock, so if I get attacked by a stalker, I'll be fine. And really the point of it all is just explore. Poke around, explore, discover new things. Hiding spots? Well, let's hope we never need them, but they do serve a purpose. This right here. When you see this kind of a puddle, that's a mud puddle. Go ahead and pick out the mud. Give it a sniff. Just the once. Mud is actually really good. When you rub it on yourself, you get 3 buffs. Yep. Well, yeah, 3 buffs. There's the heat buff, that's the one in the middle. There's the bleeding buff, which is the second from the right. And there's the buff against being smelt. So basically, I'm as protected as I can be right now against everything. Those buffs do wear off over time. And they also, you lose some of the buff when the thing that happens that sets them off happens. So if I was to get mauled by a stalker, or by any animal really, then I would lose some of my debuff there. Well, yeah, I would lose some of my buff, actually, that's what it is. And it's just really good to, whenever you see a mud pile, stop and grab a bit of mud and top up your buffs. Okay, this is actually the final female that I need. So that's really good. I'm gonna go ahead and head down there. This right here is a landmark as well. I might as well discover it. Just while I'm there. And let's see what female's problem is. Okay. Coughing, huffing, choking. It's not venom poisoning. I believe it is food poisoning. Now, food poisoning is generally cured by mushrooms and other things. Let me just go ahead and set her here. Set a little reminder there. You may hear a little bit of a ringing sound, and actually this is as good an opportunity as any to touch on that. That little ringing sound you hear, the little sound you hear is a precious stone. You will always hear that sound when you are near a precious stone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this rock, and I'm going to climb to the top of this rock, because if you focus up here, you'll see there's a thing. So let's go ahead and make it to the top of this. Climbing definitely chews into your endurance. And there is a precious stone. I believe this one is tourmaline. Yep, tourmaline. So there's a little bit of a mechanic with the tourmaline, with any precious stone, is you'll notice that there's a little pair of eyes debuff, or buff now. That basically means that I am now immune to the dopamine draining effects of Fear of the Unknown. Now, the best way to cure Monkey Female down there is to either bring her a mushroom or bring her a cracked coconut. I don't see any coconut trees around here, so my options are mushroom or coconut. Well, I don't see no mushrooms either. Ain't no mushrooms to be found. I can't smell no mushrooms. So, here's a little bit of a hack. Not a hack, but just a trick. If you've got a precious stone and you give it to a hominin that's, you know, just not part of your party yet, they need something, you win. They are now your friend. It doesn't matter what's wrong with them. Giving them the precious stone will actually fulfill any requirements they have for being your friend. So now I have got, basically if I can make it back alive with these two to the nest, I have got a full plan. Well, not quite full, but we'll discuss that as we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and grab a stick, and I'm going to just try to make myself a sharpened stick because Stalker can appear at any time. I know that it takes 10 hits from being a dead branch. I know that it takes 10 hits from being a dead branch to make it to being a sharpened stick. Maybe more. Precious stones basically do what any other base stone does. Any base stone can alter another item. And it's just what I happen to have in my hand right now. This may become useful. Well, in this episode it might become useful. I just want to get you sharpened, buddy. It takes a few hits. Good, sharpened stick, great. Again, discovering new alterations and all that stuff that pops up on the upper left doesn't count. Doesn't matter for a darn thing. I am going to stop, though, and let my stamina recharge. You'll notice it's recharged only to a certain amount. That means that one of my 3 requirements is not being met. Either I'm hungry, or I'm thirsty, or I need to sleep. So, I'm not about to try and satisfy any one of those things when I'm out in the middle of God knows where. So I'm just going to try and make my way back to my safe spot. Make it back to the home. The settlement, that's what it's called. The settlement is kind of safe in that if you are in the settlement, you are, how to put it, you cannot start the random countdown timer for a stalker while you're in the settlement. And yeah, you see the screen go into black like that? That means that I am tired. Considering I started this day at 6 a.m., I should darn well better be. What was I going to say? So you cannot start the stalker timer while you are in your settlement, but if you exit the settlement and come back, the stalker timer is still remaining. There is no guaranteed amount of time for a stalker. It's either going to be, ticking down or he's going to be attacking you. Generally, you'll get a stalker attack once a day if you're able to, successfully defend yourself against him. But if you've started the stalker timer and you are outside of the camp and you come back, then that timer is, it's still ticking and the stalker can invade your camp. So, let's just go ahead and get everybody in. Skip the cutscene. I'm going to go ahead and get a full night's sleep, so 8 a.m. I swear to gosh, this time. And of course, in the middle of my nap, I've got food issues. Oh well. I'll just sleep all the way through. I'll probably spring up water issues, too. No, wait. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, for crying out loud. I'll go through to 9. Good enough, okay. So, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, but I'm not tired anymore. So the next thing is, drink it up. Now, if you look at the stamina bar in the bottom of the screen, you'll see the little yellow concentric going on. As long as that's going on, it means what you're doing is benefiting you. Once you fill that up, once it goes green and stops going up, then you don't need that thing anymore. So just keep going until you don't need it anymore. And I like to just keep on drinking and drinking and drinking, even if I'm full, just because that makes all the other hominins, drink until they're full. Alright, good. Next, I'm going to eat berries. That's going to cause everybody else to start eating berries. I'm probably going to get sick. That's just how it works. But it's free food. And you'll notice that that bush that I was just at is now nothing but empty branches. See right here? That's what happens when you pick the bush clean. Now, don't worry, the bush will recover. If you give it a couple days, it will. If you skip a generation, it will. Whatever. That bush will return back to being full of berries. But right now, I've got food poisoning, so that means I gotta drink it down until it's gone. And my stamina is suffering while I have that debuff on me. You notice all my buffs are gone, too, by the way. But now, I am full up. So, one more thing to do. Everybody's going to wander around and do their own thing. It's time to make the final set of babies. Alright. What I like to do is to have the males carry the babies around, simply because that lets me know, well, this male has already mated with someone, and there are 2 babies on his back. So it's easier for me. So you go up to each female, or you can do it from a distance. For instance, if you focus on this female, you can see she's fertile. If she's fertile, that means she can have a baby. So let's go ahead and do the groom. If you see family related, however, on the female, that means you can't mate with her. It won't let you do that. But we do need to make babies, so come on. And she will just pick herself up and walk over to you from wherever she is. Mate. Skip. Mate again. Skip. And now there are 6 babies. Alright, so let's talk about the mechanics of the clan. A clan may only have a total of 18 members. You can never have more than 18 members in your clan, tribe, whatever. You can have 6 adults, 6 babies, and 6 elders. For this first generation, there are no elders because, well, nothing but adults. Gonna do just a little bit of leveling up, just in order to get some skills taken care of. As you can see, my neuronal energy is more or less at tops. And as I've been going around, as you've been seeing those growing neuron things popping up, that means that I have unlocked these perks, sort of. A white glowing dot means that you can unlock it to make it available, and you should do that on every single one as soon as it pops up. No questions asked. Just pop them and go. I don't care if you're losing neuronal energy to do it. Just pop them. The reason you do that is because when you change a generation, if you haven't popped every single one of those white dots, then you've got to do that all over again. If you pop the white dot and you're getting these little target symbols, that means that, well, you don't have the trait, but you can get it as soon as you've got enough neural energy. You don't have to train yourself up like you did before. So let's see what some of these are. Self-empowerment. Once connected, clan members will have the capacity to automatically mimic an intimidation act or the action of conquering fear. Good, but not for me right now. Then this one. Once connected, the ability to transfer an item to the other hand while moving will be possible. Well, that's something I want. So in order to learn this, you gotta hold down the A button. And boom, I now have that skill. Perfect. Now what does this one mean? It would be possible to detect more distant elements. Well, I would like to be able to see further. That's good for detecting things, and also for, well, you need to detect things while you're in fear of the unknown. And of course, we got a second pop here. And it'll be possible to drop an item while moving. Yes, please. You want to be able to drop stuff and change hands while moving. You don't always have the luxury of stopping and standing still. Now, if you zoom out, okay, you'll get to generation. And generation means that it's time to skip a generation. The babies grow up, the adults turn old, it's the circle of life. I'm going to go ahead and just grab, let's see, sound or odor. Odor is more important to me. So, I tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and unlock the 6 skills that I've unlocked. I'm just going to go ahead and learn them. Sound is useful for spotting enemies, or spotting when there's living things around you, but for my style of gameplay, it really doesn't matter as much after I've already found the clan. That's the main thing that the clan did that the hearing did for me, is the clan. So I'm not going to be training too hard to get that up. But I have learned 6 skills. Now, you'll notice that it says 6 reinforcements on the bottom right. The 6 reinforcements means, what a reinforcement is when you change generations, you guaranteed get to keep the things that you've reinforced. Bottom line, end of story. They are yours forever. Okay, and they shall be present in every single baby that has been born. You can only do 6 per generation, 1 per baby. That's important. You have to have the babies to do the reinforcements. If you don't have 6 babies, you don't get 6 reinforcements. There are ways to up that, but we'll talk about that as it becomes relevant. So I have gone ahead and reinforced 6 of the things that I need. So I'm going to go ahead and pass a generation. Let's do it. And I'm going to skip the cutscene. Okay, so you'll notice my fur has turned gray. That's because I'm an elder. Elders, they're immune to fear of the unknown, which is good if you like to go exploring and you want to find places, but they have like half the stamina, which is not so good. They get tired a lot easier. I'm going to make a few more sleeping spots, just because 1 sleeping spot is a bit inconvenient to have just that one. So 1 more is fine. You want to have, I would say it's good to have 1 sleeping spot for each couple. So since you've got 12, you got 12 full-grown monkeys here, then you're going to want to go ahead and make up to 6. I'm not going to bother with that many. There's another downside to the elderly here, which, if we look at this female here, she cannot be fertile. She can never have a baby. An elder male, however, can impregnate an adult female. I don't want to talk about it, but that's if you're missing a dude, you can at the very least manage it with one of the elder males. It's not pretty, but you got to do what you got to do. You got to make the babies. As soon as you change a generation, it should be your first priority to make the babies. Alright, so this one says family related, as you can see. That means that if I try to groom her, nothing. Cannot make baby with sister. Just not allowed. This one, however, is single and not related to me. So we're just going to fill up that bonding meter. And now that a couple is formed, we just got to do the baby making. I'll join you when I've done the baby making. Okay, so I've made all the babies. You can have 6 babies, 6 elders, and 6 adults, remember. And I've slept through till morning for visibility's sake. Now, we're going to discuss genetic mutations. So you're going to lay down and do the evolution thing. Okay, there were 3 genetic mutations that occurred this generation. So, genetic mutations can be in 2 stages. They can be in the baby genetic potential, which means that the baby that was just born, one of the babies, has a mutation. And it can also be in matured, which means that the baby that had a mutation in the previous generation is as now an adult, and the next time you do an evolution, which is different from a generation change, then that mutation will become an active perk. So in order to best maximize the way things go, you want to, after a generational change, or after evolution, you basically want to have all the babies grown up, and all the grown-ups that have evolution points as elders. Once an elder that has a genetic mutation has died, you have lost that genetic mutation. So it is best, at the very least, to do 2 generations, so that way you don't lose any genetic mutations. Also, you have to balance that with getting your perks locked in. So basically, the idea is, ideally, every generation, you'll have 6 babies. You will then get 6 perks and lock them in, and whatever genetic mutations you have, Then you'll do a generation change. When you do a generation change, all the babies that have the genetic mutations grow up, all the adults become elders, and all the elders die. There is a benefit to the elders dying, but we'll discuss that in a little bit. It would be a waste right now to just update, my genetic mutations. It would be a waste right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab my stick, and I'm going to try to earn just a few more perks. Now, since we happen to be close to a cocoa tree, we are going to go ahead and grab down a cocoa. Okay? I'm going to jump down to the ground, going to get to safety. When you're in your settlement, by the way, then your movement speed is faster. So, I'm going to inspect the cocoa. Yep, it's a cocoa. In other words, a coconut. Then, there's more. You alter the cocoa with a rock. As soon as you hear that little thump, that means that you have altered something as far as it's going to go for that stage. And I'm going to inspect the cocoa. The cracked cocoa. Okay. Cracked coconut is something you can drink. So I'm going to drink it. Okay, the cracked coconut gives you 2 buffs. You get venom resistance and you get food poisoning resistance. That is another way that I could have helped that food poison monkey, is I could have given her a cocoa. The cocos are good for gaining friends. It'll cure poisoning, it'll cure venoming, or envenomation, and it'll cure thirst. That's 3 different conditions that you can overcome with a cracked cocoa. But you can't do the cracked cocoa until you've got 2-handed capability, until you've got, switching hands and alteration. So you're gonna run into the situation where you just can't do anything in order to, get that monkey on side. So that's why it was so important to hurry back and just have the babies and unlock that hand stuff. Now there are several other things that you can do to get up your communication. For instance, I just did the summon clan, and that has matured a communication neuron. I'm going to then go to one of the sleep spots and hit B to end the expedition, because I don't want them all following me right now. And you can't lay down if you got something in your right hand, so I'm going to drop it, drop the stick, and go in there. And as you can see, I've unlocked something in communication. Once connected, it will be possible to ask a particular clan member to approach. That's actually not an important skill to me right now at this stage in the game, so I'm going to let it be. But, yeah, that's honestly, it's kind of the gameplay loop. I think what I'll do is I'll also just go ahead and grab 1 or 2 more rocks, different kinds of rocks, and show you some of the other alterations that can be made. never leave your camp with a live stalker out there somewhere without having some kind of a defense mechanism in your hand, either a rock or a stick. Doesn't even have to be a sharpened stick. It can be a stick, or it can be a dead branch. It's equally capable of smacking a stalker. So I'm going to run out a little bit this ways, and I am looking for either obsidian or basalt. All I'm going to see right now is basically stuff I know, but even the act of looking has unlocked a neuron. So, you know, do a little bit of looking, do a little bit of sniffing, smell some stuff. Boom, maturing neurons. Excellent. Sound, well, there's those guys. But I don't think that once I've discovered them, I get any sort of help. Just so you know, when you're looking or smelling or hearing, you are not resting. So if you are pretty darn low on the old stamina, then you're not gaining any rest at that point. So here we have obsidian, which is actually a pretty good thing to have. I'm going to go ahead and grab 2 obsidian, and we're going to do an alteration. Well, first we got to inspect. And, yeah, you want to do this as fast as possible, because you can't actually use something as a weapon if you don't know what it is. And the stalkers just love to get on you as you're doing stuff that makes you vulnerable. And as you can see, I mistimed the strike, and I lost the rock as a result. So, 10 strikes at first. That's what it takes to alter a rock. Hello! Screw off. Just a good bonk will get him running. Alright, and I've just altered an obsidian. And what I have altered it into is an obsidian scraper. Now, an obsidian scraper is actually a very useful tool. It's much better at hurting stuff. It's much better at stripping dead branches, and yeah, it's just much better at everything than the basics. You'll notice also that I have lost the Fear of the Unknown buff, because, you know, once you've passed a generation and you've already found the stone, well, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and just head on back to base. It's good to have an obsidian scraper. It's not the most useful rock in the game, but it's pretty darn good, and I'll take it over nothing any day of the week. Heck, I'll take it over a precious stone. So let's just head back to camp and see what it is we've unlocked. Okay, drop it here, and I'll just go ahead and do a little run back. So I'm gonna take a wasteful generation here, and I'm gonna do an evolution. Okay, so let's pop these, and hopefully I've got enough. This is your neuronal energy, and it shrinks down to a little dot as you use it. So hopefully I've got enough to unlock these 2 things. Okay, automatic identification of non-threatening smells of the same species near the target is possible. So that means if it's something I can eat, then, you know, that means that it'll show all of the ones that are nearby. This also lets me see non-edible resources from further away. Never hurts to get your spatial perception up. And non-edibles are basically what you can see. What you can smell are edibles. And body language. Let's just go ahead and do that. Boom, boom, boom. Excellent. So that's how you do this. Now we're going to go ahead and skip a generation. I know it's wasteful. I can get 3 more things and reinforce them, but I'm doing this for the sake of doing it. So let's go ahead and do it. Okay, now, what was adult is now elder. And I'm going to make the babies, and I'm going to come back in just a moment. Okay, once again, I've had the babies, and I've slept through till morning for visibility's sake. So, let's see what mutations we had. One mutation this generation, which is intellectual capacities. So, this is as far as I want to take the generation skipping. Once you've got elders in your clan, okay, from the very first generation you have elders in your clan, you will do 2 more generations. So basically, if you're in survival mode and you've managed to get together the whole crew, then you're going to, you'll do 3 generations, because the first set of hominins, didn't have any mutations, and the second set had the first, the third set had the second. You don't want to go past that. From here on out, every time we change a generation, or actually from every time we do an evolution, we'll have 2 generation changes, and that will be it. After that, you've got to do an evolution. So, you're going to notice something. When you've had elders in your clan and they've passed away, there's going to be these little skulls on the ground. An important point. I mentioned earlier you can't earn neuronal energy without babies. There's a second thing about that. The babies have to be near you or on you. So if you don't have any babies around you, then you can be all the way across the map with no babies. You're not going to get a single bit of neuronal energy. So it's always good to be carrying 2 babies around. You can gain a ton of neuronal energy just by studying the remains of your ancestors there. The remains of your ancestors will go away after you do an evolution, but there's always a fresh batch available each generation. So, if you'll notice on the bottom right, my little neuronal energy wheel is kind of glowing. That means that you've maxed it out. You're not earning any more neuronal energy. Also, you notice the ticks around the compass there, the ticks around the map. The ones on the left are the adults, the ones on the right are the elders, and the ones on the lower right are the babies. You'll notice, of course, 2 adults have babies on them. That's what those 2 dots being attached to them are. And there's the 2 babies attached to me. So, this particular round, I'm going to do the final bit that I plan to do for this video, and that is find a better home. So, before heading out, everybody get completely, actually no, before we drink, let's eat up. Let's all eat ourselves to completion. Eat until the yellow stops happening. I don't care if we drain the bushes. Alright, once you're full, go to the water and start slurping up. And just keep going until everybody's had their drink fill. Or until you've gotten rid of your food sickness, whichever happens last. Just keep drinking until there's no more hominins drinking. If there's no more hominins drinking, that means everybody's all full up. So, I said earlier, this is not my favorite place to stay. I'm going to actually get us to my favorite place to stay, and this is going to be sort of a great journey sort of thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and make myself a sharp stick. As you can see, it's going much better now that I have an obsidian scraper. Perfect. So now, I'm going to start heading in this direction, okay? That way is the savannah. That way is the jungle. Right now, we're in the woodlands. Now, it's a good idea, before you start moving, that you, first off, forget this. Just unfocus that. This is very important, okay? Focus not on your actual settlement, but on the site of the settlement. In this case, the Savannah's border oasis. Skip. It's important to do that because when you actually evolve, okay, when you do an evolution, which is what's going to be happening when I reach my new home, then you lose your marker for your settlement. However, you do not lose your marker for the actual site of the settlement. And if you found a spot that you love, then you want to be able to get back there after an evolution has happened. So always, always, always make sure that you have got the site finger. You have the site of your settlement focused at all times. So you can always get back home no matter where you are. So now it's time to set out. I know the direction of where I want to go. Now, the best way to do it is to set yourself a point that you're going to, preferably a question mark, and triangle it. Now, unfortunately, because me monkey no smart, I can't have more than one's point actually focused on at any given time. So this particular round, we're just going to have to fly blind. But I know my way around this game fairly well. I know where to go. Jumping's always faster, at least at first, than actual walking, especially if it's downhill. So feel free to jump like a monkey. Keep that obsidian scraper or basalt chopper, if you happen to have one, in your left hand, because when you have used up your stick, which is going to happen, you want to have that on hand, A, for defense, and B, for you need to make another stick. Now, before heading out into the wild unknown, let's just go ahead and take a listen around, just to hear if there's anything living. So, and you just basically, you're tagging off points as you go. You have to get kind of close in order to discover a settlement. It'll just say focus until then. So I've discovered the hidden pit. It's not really where I want to be, but it's a place I've discovered. Next, we're heading towards that particular flag. Oh, I almost went down the pit. Hidden pit's kind of a nasty place to go. You'd have to climb out, and unless your climbing skill has been raised up quite a bit, you're in trouble. It's going to drain a lot of stamina. So, fear of the unknown is upon us again, and there's some stuff we don't know what it is around here. Let's just focus on what we can. It's a good idea not to actually mark things out until you hit an area of fear of the unknown. Don't go doing this discovery stuff until you've done that, because if you've traveled past it, then and you've gone ahead and already tagged it like I'm doing right now, then it won't count. It can't count towards rationalizing your surroundings. So don't just walk along unless you're an elder or you've got an anti-fear stone. Don't just walk along and identify stuff as you go. That's actually a bad idea because it removes options for rationalizing your surroundings. Every moment that you're in fear of the unknown, you are losing dopamine. Now, we haven't had a stalker attack yet, which means it's coming. So just keep an ear out and keep an eye out. Okay? And I believe this is, I forget the name of it, the Around the Tree Oasis. A very good spot. It's very good to discover. Where I want to go is on the other side of this little canyon valley whatchamajigger. Now, just so you know, these are good food. The horsetails are actually decent food. They're vegetal and will never make you sick. But there's a better use for them. And I'm going to go ahead and just real quick grab one and show you. Now, the horsetail leaves can be stripped. Of course, I suck at it right now, so I couldn't strip it. The horsetail leaves can be stripped. And they become, well, horsetail leaves. Let's see what it says. Okay, horsetail leaves. Oh no! Whoop! Problems. Yeah. Okay, grabbing rock. When you see one of your mates is flashing red, then that means he's in trouble. He's been caught by something. Once you've scared the threat away, and it goes down to a dull red, that means that there's something wrong. He's hurt. And in this case, what he's got wrong is he's bleeding. He's bleeding. So that's why I stripped the horsetail leaves. I knew that was going to happen. Horsetail leaves, once stripped, actually become a medicine that you can use to stop bleeding. That's why I'd rather not eat those. I'd rather actually have those. So you can eat the horsetail leaves if you want, but I feel like they're better used for curing bleeding, especially when you're on the move to a new home. Because that stalker is just going to show up at random and just wreck your day. Now, as you go along, if it's something you haven't discovered and sniffed before, definitely stop and sniff it, because that can be used to help you with your fear of the unknown. But don't just go discovering stuff. Don't just go smelling stuff and identifying it if you're not in fear of the unknown yet. Simply because, well, that's going to result in you having fewer options to get your rationalization meter up. Now, I know that somewhere in this canyon is going to be another cat. Another cat makes his nest here. But we've hit fear of the unknown, so let's just take care of it. Remember, dopamine's always draining while you're under fear of the unknown, unless you've got an active stone with you. And that's a bit of a problem for me right now, because I don't have much that I can smell or see or anything like that. You can press on. As you press on, more things may become visible, but just remember, you've got that dopamine lowering, so always be on the lookout for stuff to tag and identify. Okay, good. So I've identified enough that my surroundings are rationalized again. Just keep plodding forward. You cannot discover a place while fear of the unknown is active. You actually have to conquer your fear. Thankfully, you only have to conquer your fear of the unknown once per zone. So that's good, at least. Now, I know that there was a focal point. There was a triangle. There we go. I'm going to discover this real quick. But there is further yet to go. Kind of get out from standing around these chuckle fucks. Oh, pardon the expression. Kind of get around from standing around these people and move ahead. Now, we've just had a stalker attack and I've bonked him, so I don't expect him for a while, but let's discover this while we're at it. Mushroom! Not a good idea to eat these yet. We're not there. But just stop for a moment and listen. Nothing. Smell. Nothing, but I know for a fact that there is a black Machiridus ahead of us. Guaranteed. No? Interesting. This little pile with bones and such on it, that's a kitty nest. If you see one of those, that means that there's a good chance that at any given point, a cat will be there. I'm honestly surprised that the cat is not here right now. I don't know about that cat having a roaming range, but hey, that works in our favor. Oh yeah. Discover place. Not close enough. Get closer. Once you've discovered a place, you've discovered it forever. Once you've conquered your fear unknown, you've fear of the unknown, you've conquered it for that area forever. So, you know, these are things in our favor, but this is my actual destination. Let's get there. We're probably going to get another fear of the unknown in just a second. The further down this canyon it happens, the better. Stop to just rest for a second. Let's go forward a little bit here. See if fear of the unknown happens anywhere on these grounds. Yeah, it does. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and discover, fill up that little rationalization meter. Everything here should be known to us. You may hear like growling and hyenas cackling and whatnot while you're under fear of the unknown. It's not real. Don't worry about it. They're not actual threats most of the time. Sometimes there is actually a Machiridus growling at you. But I'd rather just get the fear of the unknown taken care of. So if you reach you basically are heading in the direction that the wind is blowing. You'll notice that there's little things going on there that the wind is blowing. If you reach a point, just walk around it and keep going. You'll eventually hit your goal. Oh. Fear conquered. Hooray. Okay, so I'm going to turn back now. I am not going to drop my stick just yet because there is still the chance that the stalker is going to find us. But this site right here, this is the Tunnel Mouth Oasis. This, to my mind, is the very best settlement site in the entire game. Don't at me. Everything you could need is right nearby. It is fantastic. So I'm just going to go ahead and build a sleeping spot. And I actually like to build my sleep spot right around here. I'd normally build the sleep spots under the cover, but there's a reason for me putting it right there. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. So let's real quickly make this sleep spot and make this our settlement. Okay. Start construction. Hop on leaves. And I will have chopped a lot of this episode out. Essentially, I'm not going to cover the tedious stuff like making babies, but let's settle. Excellent. The reason I chose to put my very first sleep spot for this section here is because the settlement radius to stop a stalker from suddenly appearing out of nowhere is it's kind of wide, but it's if you set it all the way back there, it's not wide enough so that when you go down to the watering hole, which is over here, it's not wide enough that it'll stop stalkers from appearing. I've gone through this game enough times that the stalkers have attacked me at the little waterside spot here, and I don't want this waterside spot to be attackable. I want this to be a safe space for me. So remember, as I said, keep this marked. Keep it triangular. Because what's going to happen when we do the evolution change is going to make that necessary. So, go ahead. We'll go ahead and pop that little bubble there just so it'll be available to future generations. But now it's time to do an evolution. Now, as we've been going, you may have noticed the little things pop up that say evolution feat. Those are important. An evolution feat happens when you eat a new kind of food, or when you kill a new animal, or when you discover new places. Just there'll be evolution feats that pop up. Okay? You cannot do the evolution until you have at least one evolution feat. So let's do an evolution leap now. And that means basically that spontaneous mutation neurons not carried by adults or elders will be lost, but they will reappear through future births. Actually, let's double check. Let's see. Any that are babies with the mutation. Okay, so actually, let's do a generation hop real quick. One good way to double check yourself to make sure that you're not about to lose an evolutionary feat, gather up the entire clan, let them gather close to you, and just check all your elders. See, this elder has a mutation. That's the metabolism. If you have an elder with a mutation, then once they die, you lose that mutation. So it is now time to do the evolution. Actually, I'm going to sleep through till morning. Okay, slept through till morning. So if you have an elder with a mutation on them, now is the time to do a generation, not a generation skip, to do an evolution leap. There's no point getting any more perks. The only thing you want to do with your perks is you want to just pop the bubbles to make them appear, so that they'll be available for the next generations. Do not gain any more skills. Do not make any more babies. Just stop. It's time to do an evolution leap. Okay, here we go. Now, as you do the evolution leap, all of your feats will be, well, popped up. They'll be assigned to you. In some cases, you will have done it earlier than science says you should have done it. Probably will get one of those here. No, we don't. Okay, never mind. This one we should. Yep, ahead of time. That adds another 10,000 years. Basically, if you do something faster than science believes you should have, you get a bonus. And honestly, as long as you're ahead on that red line, as long as you're ahead of science, you're doing well. Now, there are just going to be a billion of these on your very first time through. I'm just going to skip it. We have leaped 839,790 years. We had 18 births. That's the last time you're going to see that. That adds us another 90,000. And we would have lost for deaths. So we have made an evolution leap to the very first overall level up, Sahelanthropus chadensis, Tumai. So let's get back to the game. Skipping cutscene. And now we are at a place that I don't know where this place is. I actually do know where this place is. This is back where we were at the beginning. But you'll notice, over there in the distance, you see our little triangle? That's our beacon to get back to where we were. Now, it's been generous to us in that we have managed to have 6 babies somehow in the interim. But since we've done the evolution leap, probably the first thing you want to do is just drop down at a sleep spot, go to evolution, see what you've earned. We gain nutrient absorption, that's good, and for several reasons. Watch. Boom. Now you notice how several little black spots came out from that one? That means that is a very key evolution objective. That means that you have unlocked stuff that you could not do without that genetic mutation. And we're going to be doing the heck out of that next episode. So continue. Now we got iconic memory. We can remember one more item or living being. Not going to be as useful to us since we found all the clan members so quickly. But it's nice to have. All threats induce less fear, so that means less dopamine loss. And that's it for right now. So, we have a few things going to our benefit. And we got a lot done this episode. We basically made it to our first evolution. So in the next episode, I'm going to join you back at the tunnel mouth. When I get to that oasis, I'm going to just join you there, and we're going to start the next leg of our journey. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Once again, I am Alex, also known as Solomon Stracone, and this has been Ancestors, Humankind Evolution. Thank you very much. Goodbye.